What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Other Side of the Firewall podcast, where we talk about the latest and greatest in cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who've made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shannon
What's up? What's up?
and LeVon Maynard.
Welcome to the show.
What is going on? So, if you're tuning in, this should be the Wednesday episode where we do our discussions. This one is going to be about how women and minorities are targeted more than other groups when it comes to cyber attacks and data theft and things of that nature. Please tune in Monday, where Shannon covered lantana attacks and what those mean and the ramifications of those. Tuesday, LeVon covered
the TSA.
Yes, the TSA and how they're doing more oversight when it comes to railroads as well as airlines when it comes to cyber. So definitely interesting topic. And then today, we're going to go over our discussion. Hit us up Friday. Friday, we talk about everything but cyber. So those are always interesting conversations where we just basically delve into what we've been doing to basically chill out for the rest of the week, at least attempt to, right? So talk about games, media, things of that nature. But without further ado, I'd like to talk about this threat post article entitled "Women Minorities Are Hacked More Than Others." This one is written by Tara Sales. So it's a little bit of an older article. Usually we're the week of. This one is a couple weeks ago, but it definitely caught my eye and I wanted to talk about it. It's also something I talked about in one of my classes. Like we have a whole module based on demographics when it comes to not necessarily cyber attacks, but education when it comes to people in the areas they live in. So demographics, basically. So how, the heartland doesn't have broadband access and how, that it can cause you to look at data differently, or how metropolitan areas usually have the most dense bandwidth and what have you. But those who are people of color or people who are not poverty, but people who just don't have access. What's the word I'm looking for? Underprivileged?
Impoverished is what you're looking for, but like you're right though. Like that, the assumption can be made, and again, it is an assumption that if you don't have access to the internet, that you are impoverished. You are living at or below the poverty line, right? So, I mean,
right. Yeah, thank you. I was at a loss for words, but it's how that affects you, right? So you live in an area that it has crazy bandwidth, but you can't use it. You can't afford a PC, or you don't have a phone, things of that nature. Just how those demographics shape you and your access to data. So this one goes the opposite direction, right? This is how you are exposed to attack and theft because of potentially your demographics, right? So in the article, it goes over some crazy demographics, and they don't sound bad up front, but as you dig a little bit deeper, like, so it goes into Black people, Indigenous people, and people of color. So BIPOC, BIPOC, their social media accounts are hacked more than their white counterparts, or how 47% of them are able to avoid the repercussions of cybercrime compared to their white counterparts, 59%, which don't have issues with it. Or it talks about people in their age, so 65 years or older, those people are 36% more affected by credit card information theft than others. So you have to think people are being targeted based on their demographics. So like a lot of those, your car's warranty is about to expire, isn't necessarily for you as a millennial, because you kind of get like, oh, this is a scam, but it can affect someone who's older and it's just not as in tuned with social media or social networking in general. Or I received a call the other day where it was like this, because they never have your name because they don't know who you are, right? They just have a block of numbers that they got from wherever, like probably someone's data breach, or you oversharing your information. And it said, "Dear valued customer, We regret to inform you that your card number has been stolen. We need you to confirm what it is. Like no credit card company name, not my name, not which card has been stolen. Very generic. I would type in my credit card number so they can steal it. Or I had one that came from the IRS itself. It said that my social security number had been compromised. Please type it in to confirm that this is you. I'm like, nah, man. I want to talk to your manager.
We laugh, but people are still falling for this, though, right?
Right.
Like we're
Right.
laughing at it because
Yeah.
we're like, oh, who still falls for this? Well, yeah,
Yeah.
it
So,
does happen.
yeah. So if you're older, I mean, that it's definitely that could be something that where you're like, oh man, they're talking to me. Like you just don't get the cues and what have you. And then it's just the lack of knowledge as well, or social media accounts being stolen, like doing those quizzes or clicking those links can lead you to getting your stuff stolen. But I was not aware of how big the disparity was just in general for women being targeted, especially women of color, where it talks about like their credit cards being stolen or their social media accounts being hacked, specifically because of their demographics. So that kind of blew me. But what do you guys think about that?
I was thinking about that too. I think you made an interesting point earlier when you were mentioning that the something about like the demographics, like their location and what kind of access to the internet and things of that nature. And I'm trying to think of like a good reason why these numbers would be this way. I mean, and the numbers aren't like, when I can see, it's not drastic. Like it's not some sort of like 90% to like 10% type thing, but to get the higher percentage of people of color and women in particular being hacked. And I'm wondering if, I don't know, I'm thinking potentially like if we know that in major cities that typically major cities like New York City, and like LA and some other big cities like that, maybe Miami, those locations don't really have big populations of of Black people, people of color, people that that don't live in like the rural areas that you most likely don't live in the rural areas, especially those areas that you guys are mentioning that don't have internet access, and potentially maybe that has something to do with the fact that these people are most likely connected in a high populated area, and then they're most likely to be attacked by like people that are initiating these like cyber crimes. But that's just kind of like a thought of mine, and it's it may not be nothing to it, but I'd be curious to know if these cyber criminals have some sort of database that they know, oh, these people are people of color, and they're more likely to get hacked, they're more likely to have less security mechanisms in place to protect their data. But obviously it's kind of like a little bit of a gray area as far as what's the cause of this. But I think it's very interesting though. It's some statistics that we should be aware of, that we kind of keep in mind as far as how we being affected, how people are being affected based on their color, based on their location, based on the demographics. And obviously, as we know, like I mentioned, and you guys mentioned a few moments ago, that if you're not in these, if you're not in the rural areas and you don't have internet, you may be considered like a lower income individual. You don't have access to high speed internet. And I know that's something that's been pushed in the current administration, is try to get internet stood up in all these locations. And then we have, I think, even Elon Musk. Yeah, Starlink. That's exactly what I was going to say. Starlink's trying to get built up so we can have some satellite internet connectivity so people anywhere can connect. And by that point, maybe by that time, if everybody's starting to get connected to the internet, all of a sudden we see these numbers start skewing a little bit. And now people in the rural areas are getting hacked, and people that are just now getting on the internet for the first time, like, oh, they're just trying to figure out what the internet is. I don't know what's going on here. And then, they're getting hacked, and all of a sudden you see a bunch of like, seemingly Caucasian farmers or some people that live in the country that you don't typically see, like people of color living, all of a sudden getting hacked and, getting affected by these incidents. But, who knows, it's an interesting article. It's good. It's a good read. And I'd be curious to see like how this changes over time as internet becomes more available, highly available across the US. But
Right.
yep. Yeah. You have some thoughts on it as well, Shannon?
So I do. I do want to preface this with so
I like when you preface.
I know. Ryan hasn't asked for my letter of resignation yet, but he might after this.
Oh man, don't
No, it's nothing like that. So I know how it's gonna sound when I say it, but it's not as harsh as it sounds. I think they're going after women and people of color because, and this is not a stat I'm making up, I don't have the exact numbers, but when it comes to people of color and when it comes to women, they are more apt to spend disposable income on things when it comes to entertainment and whatnot. And I think that's what they're targeting, right? So I think that's kind of how they're getting their foot in the door, is that it ends up being that they target women more because they may be looking at, clothing or I don't know, just stuff that's specific to women. I'm not going to go too far down that hole. Again, I don't want to have to submit my letter of resignation.
I was going to say, yeah.
I think that's how they're doing their targeting. And again, it's just a theory, right? Like, this wasn't mentioned in the article or anything like that. But
wait, are you saying that you think women like shopping? Is that what you're trying to say? Women
that was LeVon. Everybody that's not watching, that's LeVon who said that.
How dare you, Shannon?
But no, and you know what? No, you got me. That is what I'm trying to say without actually saying that. But I think that's their foot in the door, though, right? Like, I think they're targeting these things. It's just like when you get those targeted ads on, from what I hear, Facebook, right? But you get those targeted ads, but like, man, I was just looking that up, not too long ago, and here it is that I got an ad going towards me. And I think it's the same thing. I think they're just going towards that arena to where they're like, okay, we see that this person is looking up dresses, wedding dresses or whatever, you know what I mean? And there's a lot of traffic on that. There's more so in the spring and the summer when people want to get married, right? So that's where they're going to. It is interesting, and that was just me taking a different take on it, right? Like, I agree with what you guys are saying, and I think they're valid points, but just to think of it from a different aspect of it, is they're going after these people. And again, even when it comes to people of color who on average make less money than their white counterparts, they're still more apt to spend it on entertainment and things of that nature, right? They may have less disposable income, but they're spending more of it when it comes to these industries of entertainment, right? And that's how they get targeted. It's just my thought on it.
Yeah, and so the stats are a little confusing though, because it talks about it also goes into people who are in a lower income median than their counterparts. But I've seen stats where it's said that excuse me, that the demographic of Black women is actually higher or more higher, has more higher education than their counterparts, only because of, you look at the amount of college debt for Black women compared to white women, and so on and so forth, where they have more of it because they've gone through university and what have you, as opposed to some of their counterparts. So like the numbers are kind of skewed, but I still think you can extrapolate some good data in there, being that they man, my voice is cracking. I'm going through puberty again. That they are being targeted more than their counterparts, just off of just the social media accounts being hacked, as well as the PII being leaked and what have you. So I don't know, excuse me, I don't know if it specifically has anything to do with spending and whatnot. It may. I don't know if they're more apt to click a link than others, because it also goes into Indigenous people, people of color, Black women specifically. So I don't know what the linkage is there. To be honest with you, like I kind of wish we had a Miss Chelsea Pierre or Miss Aisha Hollins on to kind of give us a little bit more of that information. But I honestly don't know why they're being more targeted, aside from when it comes to, like you said, proximity. So like most crimes are crimes of proximity, right? So it could be that, like you said, they live in more densely populated areas, so they're more apt to being attacked because there's more people there, as opposed to like people who are in Heartland, USA, where they're more spaced out. It could also have to do with just education on clicking links that they shouldn't be clicking. So it could be perhaps this is not being information that's not being taught to people of color. specifically women, in that regard. So honestly, I don't know, because like my Twitter feed is full of women in cybersecurity, Black women specifically. So there's a lot of them out there, but I don't know if these classes are being tailored toward them as well. So like, and I've only been teaching for a little bit. I've only had one female student in my classes, so I don't know if the demographics are just smaller because it's not what they're interested in doing right now, and you know what I mean, like the field is still growing in that regard, and I'm in my own little bubble on Twitter where I'm just like, man, cyber is like, you know, bees knees. Everybody's in cyber, as opposed to like the real demographic, like we talk about, that only being 7% that are in the field and 3% that are in positions that have a say so. So it could be just a macrocosm of, or is it microcosm of the macrocosm? I don't know. I don't take statistics, but it could just be that the larger population are just not as in tune with cyber, as I would like to believe that they are. You know what I mean? So there's that. Well, you gonna say something, Shannon?
No, you hit it though with the 7%. I was going to bring up the 7% number, right? So you say, yeah, I see a lot of Black females on Twitter, but Black women on Twitter, but again, that's I'm guessing this is how Twitter works, right? Because again, I don't have any social media, but like those are
Right.
your interests that you're seeking out, right? So that's the
Right,
interest you're
right.
seeking
Yeah,
out.
it's just come in cyber, and then you click on one, you click on
Yeah.
another one, it just blows up from there, right? So like my whole Twitter feed is pretty much people of color in cybersecurity, and that's because that's what I'm interested in, right? So I'm not going to see a lot of other type of people as
And,
well.
and and you got to think that's just 7% that are in that field. That's not 7%
Right,
of the total population. You know what I mean? So cybersecurity
right,
is this small, for all of the jobs that can be out there, for all of the different professions that can be out there. So of the 7%, 3% in the C-suite positions, the pool is small of people that are actually aware that fall into that BIPOC category. You know what I
right,
mean?
right, which is very true. Yeah. So hopefully, like LeVon said, like as well, I guess what I'm going to say is counterintuitive. Hopefully, as the broadband starts to blow up in the mid country, I don't know what I keep want to call it, farmland. They're not only farmers out there, but I'm just saying, like, it's a lot of farmland out there, a lot of
Yeah.
space in the middle of the country. Hopefully, as that grows, the demographics will shift. But I say that, and then I'm just like, well, I don't want more people to get attacked.
Right,
That's
right.
what it
Yeah.
sounds like I'm trying to say. Like, hopefully, things even now, it's 50-50. Everybody's getting attacked. No, that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to say, hopefully, as things expand, the numbers start to level out and hopefully drop. You know what I mean? As cyber becomes more in our face, like with like we talked about last episode with your colonial pipelines, your JBS meat packing. Now TSA is getting involved in your railroads and your airlines and what have you. Like, I would love to sit down on the plane before it takes off and they talk about like a little, like not only your safety with the vest and whatnot, but not clicking links and things of that nature. Because a lot of these flights have internet, right? And you get bored. So like maybe it's not a good idea to click links you don't know. Um, so that could be a thing. If you need help, airlines, look me up. I can give you 30 seconds. I'm a TikToker now, right? So I give you something to put in your ad. But just hopefully like just the education and whatnot, so we can start to see these numbers skew in a better direction. I just thought it was very fascinating because this platform is about cybersecurity, specifically when it talks about those demographics of people of color, women. We try to bring up articles whenever I see an article pop up to do with people of color, specifically Black women or just women in general in cyber. I like to bring that up, and I thought this one was, even though it's kind of a negative article that they're being attacked more, I think it's something that needs to be brought up, just so that they're aware, like, okay, you are a target. They're coming after you more than they're coming after anyone else. If you look at the stats, so I definitely thought it was an interesting article. But I thought it was a good conversation. I appreciate y'all. Another one in the books. I forget what number we're on, man. Like we're probably in the almost 120s in episodes. So thank you, Shannon. Thank you, LeVon. Please continue to listen, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. like hit us up throughout the week. I don't know if I brought this up or not, but we're going to have another guest on next week. We'll have Mr. Gabriel Davis. He is a member of the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, or CISA. He'll be on either next week or the week after his discussion. So look forward to that. I'll definitely be advertising and what have you. Hit up the website. We're at www.theothersideofthefirewall.com. We get to all our social medias, which are starting to shrink because I'm looking at demographics. I'm like, people aren't listening to us here or there. So I'm going to conserve my energy for mostly LinkedIn and Twitter is where we get the most hits. So definitely hit those up. I don't understand IG. That's why we're not really on it. When someone can explain to me how IG works and how I can use it as a platform, I will. But until then, I haven't posted anything on there. But you can hit me up personally. I'm at RyRy Security Guy. That's RYRY Security Guy. You can hit me up on LinkedIn, Clubhouse, Twitter, and TikTok. And you, LeVon?
Hit me up on the Twitters at LeVon Maynard.
There it is. Stay safe, stay secure.
Take care.